is the instant match reaction.
Leeds on the offensive straight away. Jack Harrison here. Jack Harrison bringing the ball forward. He's played it into Pablo Hernandez, edge of the area. Hernandez goes for goal! What a start to the game! 17 seconds on the clock. It's got to be one of the quickest goals of the Sky Bet Championship season. Here's Cook. Cook goes for goal! And finds the back of the net in sensational fashion.
Jones now for Leeds. And McNabb only half stopping him. Jones getting it across. And Clark going in! And Alan Clark has put Leeds ahead! Live down under. Mark Viduka is a sporting god in Australia, and now in West Yorkshire. Here he is again. It's Viduka. It's four. It's all his own work.
What has just happened, people? What the actual F has just happened? Leeds 3, Liverpool 3. And now at the end, I thought we were thinking, you just heard the intro then, a bit of Mark Viduka. And I was thinking at the end, let's go for it. Let's go for it. Let's get him again. They look vulnerable. They look shaky at the end. And if you were to say to me, Conor, at half-time, would you take a 3-3? I'd have snapped your hand off for it. That is quite staggeringly one of the games of the season. Has to be an unbelievable advert for the Premier League. And, you know, just... towards the end, I thought, you know, it's delirium right now. I mean, the analysis is out the window. Connor's thinking about a vat of Guinness that he's going to ingest tonight and then coming ups and downs tomorrow, severely hungover with some shades on and a hat. But I don't care. This is an unbelievable feeling. 2-0 down, you're absolutely defeated. You're on the ground. You're thinking, we've given it away. I mean, the Joe Rodon just passing it to Ekitike. There you go. Love a little through ball round the side behind Yaka. There you go. Just in and around the back. There you go, Hugo. Just got to tap it in, fella. So, yeah, that wasn't great. And then the second one of which, you know, they were just pressing monsters at points in that game, Liverpool. And you can see why when they are at full pelt, Liverpool are a nightmare. They're an absolute nightmare. If you want me to bring in some sort of analysis and just come down from that delirium tree in the background there, they pushed our wing-backs all the way back. They doubled up on our wing-backs as well. The centre midfielder was pressing on Jayden Bogle. The other centre midfielder was pressing on Goodmanson. They couldn't get out. They were forcing Leeds United back every single time. Then you'd have the midfield pushing up the pitch as well because Leeds weren't able to build up through that midfield because I thought in that first half maybe certain midfielders, Anton Stark, were maybe hiding a little bit from the ball. And I understand because there's a pressy nature of that Liverpool side, which if you get caught, they're in. And that happened, didn't it, a couple of times with the turnovers. You get caught, Gakpo's in, and you think, oh, my goodness, every single time. And you've got tall, strong, athletic boys. Szoboszlai, brilliant in that game, I thought. Curtis Jones, very good. But I thought, lads and lasses, I just thought it was too much respect. And it's Liverpool. And you look at the bench. I mean, Salah didn't even come onto the pitch, which that could be Arnie Slot out. But Arnie Slot was in the black as well, wasn't he? In the middle of the pitch, refereeing the game. So I don't feel too sorry for him. But I thought in that first half, Leeds were just, it felt quite Arsenal-y. I thought it was very much like, oh, it's Liverpool. Oh, it's the champions. They've come to take us on here, and we just can't get near them. Leeds were very deep, but they were able to exploit that block still. If it was a low block, it was a mid block, you were still seeing Liverpool come through. And then you sat there and were on the watch long and you're thinking to yourself, well, is that because of them just being too good? But then I'm seeing Curtis Jones run off Stack. I'm seeing Gravenberch bypass Ampadu and Gruev. But towards the back end of that first half in particular, I thought Ampadu was the best midfielder. Thought he was really, really impressive. I was getting the ball at least driving, getting involved. I was really upset with Stack in that first half, as the watch-alongers will know, because we know what his level is. We know Anton Stack maybe partnered with Al Tanaka. We'll talk about that little genius in a minute. But absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding that second half. 6 goals. But let's get into it. I thought, look, Leeds were hanging on in that first half. And we were saying it on the watch-along. It's coming. It's coming. And it came. And as I said, it was a Joe Rodon hospital pass. And then the second one was kind of symptomatic of the whole game for me, really. Leeds really struggling to play out from the back when it was put on us. And then Liverpool recovering the ball high. They did that. Ball into the box. Perry again. It gave me vibes of Nottingham Forest, just that weak wrist. And then it goes straight into a TK bounce in the back of the net. And you're thinking, you're thinking this is going to be long. This is going to be a long. And at that point, it's the 48th minute and they've gone 2-0 up. The champions. They've gone 2-0 up and they've got Isak, they've got McAllister, they've got Endo, they've got Salah on the bench. And you're thinking, it's not going to be good for Leeds, this. But at Ellen Road this year, there has been just an attitude, just like a do or die. A do or die of which it's just been, it's so frantic and intense at points. And I just thought in that first half, Liverpool did well to take the sting out of the game immediately, control possession. I thought Leeds started relatively well. I thought Okafor was maybe doing okay in terms of his personal duels, but I thought he wasn't aiding Dominic Calvert-Lewin whatsoever because I thought there was too much distance between Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Okafor. I thought Okafor was actually moulding into a winger. And I was saying on the watch-along at the very beginning, I wonder if we built up from Perry, if maybe Stack goes up top. And that could be something to think about in the DDD, the discourse debate discussion. Stack going up top from build-up. So you've got Stack there if Metra's not there, and you've got DCL, and they're pinning the centre-backs, Kanate and Van Dijk back, and then you just get Okafor, just for the goal kicks, just sticking around in that central position, replacing Stack, and maybe just working off those long balls. I thought that could have been maybe something Leeds looked at. We obviously didn't do that in build-up. But yeah, as I say, we were suffering. It was 2-0 down. And you're thinking this is going to be 5-6, and they're still pressing. And you're thinking the athleticism and the physicality of this division it's not even the technical level at this moment in time. It's the athleticism and the physicality of which you've just got to respect. You've seen Curtis Jones, you've seen Szoboszlai just bombing on forward. But then I have to say, I can't remember what minute it was. Maybe it was at this moment. Farke. I think he nailed it. I think he nailed it. He went to a back four, and I can't remember if this is after the first goal or just in the second half in general. Obviously, I've not had time to I've not gathered notes because it was just me just going mental in the game. But he did go to a 4 in the second half. Obviously, we saw BL come off, and unbelievably, it worked. And that's the pragmatism that we want with Farke. Change systems. Liked it. I'd have liked to have seen Tanaka on from the start. And I think you saw when he came on in that second half, I do wonder if he was actually injured or if Farke is just going for that conservative approach because he's respecting Liverpool. And we saw a similar thing against Arsenal for just as an example. And I thought, but you have to have Tanaka in there. You have to have Tanaka in there from now on. He has to be in there. He has to be in that midfield. From a quality standpoint, he came off the bench, had a strike at goal. It was well saved. I think just when you've got that midfield 3 and you've got 3 6s, I'm not sure it works. I think you need to have some sort of innovators in that midfield. And I think when he came on, it sort of all changed. But I would have gone with Tanaka from the start. You guys all know that with the predicted lineup the other day. But I think Farke will come out and say it was maybe because he was trying to manage an injury. But I do wonder maybe if I'm just being a tiny bit speculative, and I could be wrong, of course. And I've been wrong plenty of times before. I do wonder whether or not Farke's just gone for a little bit of a conservative midfield there, which we've seen before. I don't really think that worked. I don't think it got the best out of Stack as well. And obviously, you're kind of seeing the same print with Gruev that we normally see. I think Gruev coming on is where you want Gruev. You want Gruev coming on, as we saw in the Chelsea game, where he comes on, maybe stabilizes things a little bit, just keeps it ticking over. But Farke went to a 4, and I thought Leeds I thought when those subs were made on like the 60th minute. But I thought as soon as we went to a back four, Willie came on. Obviously, Aronson came on. We're going to talk about him as well. Aronson came on. Tanaka came on. Changed the game. Changed the game. And you've got to give him credit. You've got to give Daniel Farke credit. 100%. Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Think he nailed it in the Chelsea game. This won't get spoke of when it comes to me because we know it won't. It's, so Farke out. You got to give him credit where credit is due, and that's where I'll be fair. 100%. Nailed it. Nailed it in the Chelsea game. Nailed the intensity. We nailed set pieces. Really used the Ellen Road factor, and we came into it there. I thought Willie came on, made a massive difference. Obviously, the four at the back, he clearly knows that now when you bring Aronson on and Nonto on, you're probably going to have to switch to a back four. You're going to have to do it because in a 3-5-2, where do you put Willie? Pause. Where do you put Willie and where do you put Aronson? Aronson in the midfield three? I'm not sure. But Aronson up front? I don't think so. Nonto, I'll be honest with you guys as well. When you're looking at Nonto and you may be looking at Okafor today as well, I think as a front two, you probably have to have two big men on. I thought Okafor struggled today, but that could have been the caliber of the opposition in terms of just like effectively little and large. When you're looking at Konate at 6'4" and then Van Dijk at 6'5", I thought it was relatively easy for them to mop up. But as I say, that second half, we're not going in any chronological order today. The penalty, brilliant football. We found the pockets. Aronson, I thought, this is all the way back. Let's go all the way back. This is where we wanted Aronson. If he is to be a Premier League player, now I did a shoot with Green King and they said, keep bench sell. Aronson was sell for me. I mean, it was Sean Longstaff and DCL, so Longstaff bench, DCL start, so it's quite difficult. But Aronson, if you are to include him in the Premier League picture, that is where you want him. And do you know what I loved about him? Picking up in pockets. And Aronson is sometimes he's just chaos, isn't he? He's chaos, which if you're trying to hang on to a lead at points, Leeds have got a penalty. Leeds convert the penalty. Brilliant from DCL to get on the score sheet again. If Aronson's then on the pitch and buzzing round, and because he's so unorthodox, and that's my kind word for him, because he's so unorthodox, he will just get the ball in pockets and run at you. He doesn't care. And we all know that when Aronson runs, sometimes the ball can get trapped under his feet. He'll fall over. He'll maybe go the wrong way and he'll get intercepted. We saw against Nottingham Forest when they had about 10 ball recoveries off him in the first half. That can happen with Aronson. But keeping him in a 15-minute spell where the game state is perfect for Leeds to be getting into the game. Liverpool had slotted back a little bit. No pun intended. Slotted back a little bit because Leeds effectively brought 3 attackers on. They went a little bit more conservative, didn't they, with Endo coming on as well. And all of a sudden, the game changed. Ellen Road, mate. Ellen Road. Can we talk about it? That ground is it is so unbelievable. If they build on that ground, they have got to keep that atmosphere. Somehow, I don't know what you do. I don't know if you've got to keep that noise. You've got to. It is a cauldron. You can hear them when it's 2-1. And on the other side of the pitch, Jayden Bogle presses McAllister, wins the ball, marauds down the pitch, and you just see these white arrows going towards the Liverpool box, the cop end. Puts the ball in. Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets a touch on it, and Konate but the noise after that went out of play, and it was a goal kick to Liverpool. But it's the 73rd minute, and Leeds are on them, and it's like the crowd's on them, and that ground is I'll be honest, maybe Villa Park, probably St James's can replicate that. No other ground can. I don't think. From all 4 corners, I don't think how good it is. And again, it's in full effect today. Absolutely brilliant. And it's the 12th man. Swear to God. And they dragged the ball into the net. And then you had a lovely little bit of play, didn't you, for Stack's goal? And it was Aronson and Nonto in the corner, all the subs combining. Stack had a little bit more freedom then. Chops in. Stack, I'll be honest, I didn't think had a great game. I was getting really, really annoyed with Curtis Jones constantly running off him. And then I'll be honest, I thought Szoboszlai ran off him as well for their third. Got these basics. The basics got guys. And look, we're euphoric. I can barely talk, but we're euphoric. It's delirium right now. But just little mistakes like that. We're talking about the byline cutback. We're talking about maybe Goodmanson's side, which I think is a little bit too redundant and simplistic to just say it's all Goodmanson's fault. I think we saw in the Chelsea game, 1v1 defending, he can be very good if he's given support. But I think when you're looking at it and you're thinking to yourself, you know, where do you get the benefits? You've really got to look at the daft goals that we conceded today when it came to Joe Rodon just passing through. The second goal, which was so avoidable and just sloppy. And then that third goal, which was just a runner. You can't just let runners. I mean, brilliant little step over. I think it was from maybe Wirtz or McAllister. But you've got to follow Szoboszlai because he's going to tuck the ball in. But, brilliant finish from Stack. Third goal was crushing. It was, because if you haven't seen the watch-along highlights, that's probably the most nuts I've ever gone on a watch-along because I just didn't expect it. And then... obviously, delirium at the end. He throws. This is what Farke does. We all know this is what Farke does, to be fair to him. He threw them all on, didn't he? Peru came on, you see. But I was really frustrated with him when he brought Bornau on, because Bornau, for me, it's like it's the 93rd minute. Leeds still had a little bit of momentum in the corner. We just want to throw it. And then Farke brought Bornau on, and that took another 40 seconds. And I thought, he's not going to have this on, Taylor, because he's from Wythenshawe in Manchester. He could be a Liverpool fan. You know, who knows where his mum and dad were brought up, but it's relatively close out here. So I did think to myself, you know, at this stage, he's not going to add that 40 seconds on. I thought, Daniel, you're messing with the momentum here. Brought Bornau on, and then you see the corners towards the end and the monsters that Leeds have got in the box. I mean, even Peru's not a monster, but he's 6'1". He's still 6'1". So you've got big boys on the pitch. I know you've taken Biol off, and Biol would have been a bit of an impact there. But I thought Farke did a really, really good job tonight. A really good job. And then Leeds get the equaliser. You never think that that's just like a tap-in or whatever from Tanaka. That is outrageously good. To just drill the ball into the ground with your left foot under pressure like that, that is so hard to do. And it felt like the cop dragged that in. And that's a moment, people. That is a moment you'll always remember against Liverpool. Leeds have got a turgid record against Liverpool at Ellen Road since I've been... Jesus Christ. I mean, ever since we played Liverpool, we've been mauled or we've been beaten well. It feels every single time. The Viduka 4 was very rare for Leeds at Ellen Road. You know, I think we actually got a better record at Anfield. You know, you look back at late 90s with Smith and etc., David Hopkin, and then, you know, you look at obviously the Crescencio Somerville goal and all this sort of stuff, but we probably got, and then you look at early noughties when you see the Rio Ferdinand goal down there and we've got a draw, but we've probably got a better record at Anfield than we have at flipping Ellen Road. So to get something, and, you know, I'm so proud of them tonight, because you're going up against a top 10. I don't care how out of form they are, and I was mentioning it on the watch along. I don't care how out of form they are. I'm not bothered. They are the champions of this country, of the best league in the world. They're the champions. Isak, Salah, McAllister, Endo off the bench. Gomez off. I said on a tweet on Wednesday night, I said that Chelsea bench is probably the best bench I've ever seen. Honestly, recent memory. Obviously, I know we've been in the Championship and all this sort of stuff. But that bench Liverpool had was just outrageous. Chiesa, another one, just on the bench. So to come out and to get a result against that as a newly promoted side, unbelievable. But I have to say, really impressed with Farke today. Really impressed. They have to start. I mean, there's differences of opinion on Twitter. I'm seeing some people saying Stat played well, and that's the beauty of football. These are people who, you know, I follow on social media. A lot of people I respect saying Stack had a good game today. This is the beauty of football. I didn't think Stack had a good game today. I thought he was probably the poorest midfielder, but, you know, grew into it in the second half, didn't he? And I'm not just looking at him, by the way. But Goodmanson, I thought was, as I say, Goodmanson and Bogle pinned back a little bit more in this game. I didn't think Rodon was great. I thought Biol was really good in that first half. I thought he was good. His passing out from the back was decent. I thought he got his percentages right when he was hitting those channel balls. He looked probably the more assured of the back three. I thought Strout was a little bit. Maybe it's because Rodon and Strout are effectively the centre backs who have to build up because they're on either flank. So you have to go to either maybe your centre forward or your left wing backs. So it puts a little bit more pressure on them than what it does Yaka if you've not got central midfielders showing for him. But you have to, the midfield going forward, guys, has to be Stack, Ampadu and Tanaka. Has to be. And then you've got Gruev and Longstaff in rotation when fully fit. Longstaff, you've got to have Gruever's rotation. I don't think Gruever can start football games in the Premier League. Like we saw that against Arsenal. I think we've seen it again today to a certain level. There's points where he's getting the ball and you're thinking, go forward. There's a few pockets in there. You've maybe got Noah Okafor just a bit ahead of him, or if he wasn't on, you've maybe got a player in the pocket and you see him taking that extra touch because he's thinking to himself, I'm not confident here. And then it'll go to a centre-back instead of a forward player. That kills momentum and it means Liverpool are going to press a little bit higher. So, yeah, let's have a look what you guys are saying anyway. Let's see what's going on. Pat Kell says, my goddamn heart, Con, being a Leeds fan is ridiculous, mate. Adrenaline dump incoming. Have to go on. It's always you, Pat. You're the enabler. You're the enabler. I look like a scouser today, don't I, to be fair? All right, mate. But yeah, adrenaline dump coming. I will get into bed tonight, mate, and have a massive headache. Not because of the alcohol, probably because of the alcohol. Will I drink tonight? I don't know. Missing the other room. Might just have a nice night and watch some Christmas films. Not. Then frames, if we've learned anything this week, it's those players want to play for Farke. Superb mentality. Come on, Leeds. Thanks for the donation, mate. Then frames, not seen you before. Good to see you in here, pal. Brownie said that earlier on. I was speaking to Brownie a little bit earlier on, and Brownie said the exact same thing. We're having a chat, and Brownie went, they are playing for him, aren't they? And I went, yeah. I can't deny that. What I can look at is the Brighton and Forest games, and I think, nah, not good enough. But maybe when the pressures come on to them, and you got to look at that Villa game to a certain level where they're at it for a portion. Not good enough throughout, but they're at it for a portion. City do a brilliant second half. And doesn't that just say to you guys that when you, and this is what we've said from the start, this is why I don't understand when people, will come in and say, you were saying this about Farke. Well, yeah, we were. There's been pressure on him, and there should be pressure on him. Because as we've said, I think this squad is good enough. And I think they're showing that. I think man for man, they are good enough. And I think a system and being pragmatic in game like he was today, taking Beal off, 60th minute changes. When do we see that? When do we see what he did at City? When do we see him starting with a back three against Chelsea and making the right substitutions at the right time? When do we see that? The last 3 games, 2.5 games, have been perfection. That's what we're calling for. Maybe not perfection today, because I would have liked Tanaka to start, and I think that would have given us a little bit more control in the midfield. That's all we want as Leeds fans. We all want the betterment of this football club. No one at One Leeds has agendas. That's why we get Brownie on. That's why we'll get Gabe on. That's why we'll get other people on, because we're talking about Leeds. We all want the betterment of our football club. We all want us to stay in the Premier League. And if you think maybe Farke in, if you think Farke out, that's absolutely fine. As long as it's respectful and we can have a chat about it. Some people, unfortunately, aren't able to do that. But he's done really well this last week. Now we've got Brentford coming up. Can he replicate it? We're not going to win every game. That is not my question to Daniel Farke. It's not I expect you to win every game. It's I expect you to replicate what you've done this week, where you've shown pragmatism. You've shown that just dropping that stubbornness, whatever you say in the post-match press conferences and the pre-match press conferences about this, that, and the other, you've dropped that ego a little bit, and we're seeing differences. We're seeing changes. Could you adapt to the Premier League? Could this be the changing of Daniel Farke to a certain extent, where there's an adaptation, there's a level of pragmatism? I think we need to see it over a longer period of time. Of course we do. But you've got Brentford, we've got Palace coming up, we've got Sunderland. We have got some tough games coming up. But I tell you what, guys, this last week has filled me with a lot more confidence. If you're to say to me at the start of the week, Leeds are to score 8 goals against Chelsea, City, and Liverpool, I'd be pretty happy. I watched the Sunderland game today. Sunderland had some good chances against City, but City were in control, I thought. In that second half against us, they were all at sea. And that's what we've tried to say with Farke. If he adapts, that's why we give him that leash. If he adapts, you're in that grey area. Can he do it? Because I think the squad's good enough. Look, does this need additions in January? I think so. I think we're all seeing that now. Okay? And I've thought to myself sometimes, does it need additions? Doesn't it need additions? But if we're getting continuous injuries throughout the season and we're maybe playing a little bit of a different system or maybe a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3 and a 3-5-2, but we're going more direct and we're hitting 2 strikers up top. I think now you've probably seen with Noah Okafor as a centre forward, if we are to be playing that ball a little bit more direct, Okafor's not going to be that guy who's going to win those headers up there with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So therefore, you need Dominic Calvert-Lewin to occupy a different role, which is based in and around second balls. That's what you need. So they need to work on those patterns of play in training when it comes to that long ball, Dominic winning it or Dominic not winning it, but Okafor following that track following the line of the ball and getting used to that a little bit more, because he's now not going to be a winger. He's now going to be a centre forward in a 3-5-2 system. Let's have a look what you guys are saying as well in the chat. Keep getting your thoughts in. Rune says, I'm exhausted, proud of the fight in this team. Ian says, Ao Tanaka is the greatest Japanese import since Nintendo, Toyota. Toyota's a great shout. Days of Dad says, we have to sort out tactics straight after halftime. It screwed us on too many occasions. Could have been a 3-1 win. Tanaka has to start every game. Completely agree with that, mate. Come on, Conor, give none to... Okay, sorry, Dino. Sorry, Dino's pulling me up. Sorry, Dino. Brilliant substitution. The fact that he went to it felt like a 4-2-3-1, could have been a 4-3-3, included Nonto. Nonto was dragging the right back out. He was dragging the right back out. Aronson was picking up the pockets in front of their defence, so it was dragging Canate out. That was the problem. That's why we were finding that space, because Nonto was dragging the right back out, and then you got Aronson just in and around that centre-back dragging him out. It's exactly what we needed. Then the pockets were being filled by the likes of Peru when he came on, Stack, Tanaka. Tanaka, you can't keep him off the bench. You can't keep him on the bench. You can't. And that's the one thing with Farker. We know that he can be conservative sometimes. We know that. You've got to start Tanaka every game. Have to. Of course, I chose a City game to go out for these three. Yeah. Con, do you think we could switch from a 3 to 4 at the back and vice versa if one doesn't work first half? Chaz, I think the principles, I like a back 3 because I like Beale. And I've liked the defending. Liverpool tactically, I think, got it spot on in that first half. By neutralising the wing-backs. Neutralising our wing-backs. That was the problem. And you can't then go long because you've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin up against Canate and Van Dijk. I think that's going to be quite rare, because you're not going to get two players as dominant aerially as Canate and Van Dijk. I don't think that will happen. So if you were to put Okafor and Metcher or DCL up there, I think the dynamics of that will be different against different teams. My point back to that, Chaz, is you've got to start winning those second balls. In that first half, we weren't close to the strikers enough for me. There was too much isolation. So we were too bothered about what Liverpool were doing instead of playing our game. And I think that's where Tanaka would have picked up that role as the number 8, because Stack wasn't doing it enough for me. So you've got to pick up that role. So if that ball falls, you've got to be the first one on it. And that's what I thought we're missing in the first half. It was like Dominic was isolated again, because Okafor was just that far away from him. There was no point in it. It was like the old days of Farker, against Villa and Brighton and Forest, where it was just DCL up against 2-3 centre backs. Can't happen. You got to get close. But in answer to your question, I think there's got to be a bit of pragmatism there, Chaz. And the thing is, it's unpredictable, Chaz. It's unpredictable, mate. You go into that game and they're now thinking, well, Enzo said it. Enzo Maresca said it. I don't think Daniel Farker, he's played 200 times for Norwich in a back 4. He's never played in a back 3 for Leeds United. Never played a back 3. Then we play a back 3. They set up for a back 4, Chelsea. 100%. Trevor Chalobah at right back. There's no way they've set up there for a 3 at the back. No way. So then you're looking at the Liverpool game, and probably Arne Slot's giving himself a couple of questions. Well, what's he going to do now? What's he going to do? As long as Daniel Farker's said several times about the base principles, as long as the base principles are to bypass the press and to not build out from the back, and we go long, we go direct to the centre forwards or into the attacking players and beyond the press. If we do that, if that's the base principles, we can go to a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1, or a 3-5-2. That's what you can do. But I think Leeds United would profit more from a 3-5-2, because every other team has a better technical level than us. Probably 16 teams have a better technical level than us. Obviously, because they've all been in the Premier League for so long. And I think Leeds United are going to have to defend a lot. I think every team will get chances against Leeds. But I think it's all about, a Metro being back is going to be huge. We're above Forest. Wow. Conor Bamford back. No, mate. No, I don't think so. Farker needs a lot of credit, Conor. Yes. Yeah, I'll be honest, Cathnas, I don't know how much I need to give him. Do I? I'm not worthy. Like giving it the old Wayne's World. If you know, you know. But yeah, no, we've given him a lot of credit, mate. We've given him a lot of credit. You just got to keep it up now. Can't wait to see Anfield Agenda and Jonathan Morley, I think that is. All 3 sub worked and all 100%. Arthur's buzzing. Good to see that, Arthur. Let's not thinking we could pass it out from the back again. 3-5-2 is our formation and can twist it in second half if needed. I'm there with you, Jeff. Yeah, I'm there with you. But I think just those base principles, if we are to, because let's be honest, Jeff, against Bournemouth, Everton, Newcastle, That was a back four, but the principles were different to what they turned into. Possession laden, build out from the back, strikers having 1.1 touches per game in the opposition box. That was when we were building out from the back, which is what Farke turned into. At points, at the very beginning of the season, we were still going long. We're bypassing a press. So that was in a back four. But I just think it complements this side a lot nicer when you've got a back three and Tanaka, Stack, and Ampadu. That's what I think anyway. But isn't it nice having a bit of a plan B? Get in. Good to see it. Everybody's buzzing. Good to see it. I'm absolutely buzzing for you, everybody. Leeds United 3, Liverpool 3. I'm Conor McGilligan. That's me done, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for all your super chats. Any thanks after the video? It's an absolute pleasure, and I will shout you out on the next video, as I always do. Shout out to our sponsors, Job Match Group. Make sure you check them out. Fantastic, everybody. People are going through dark times at this moment in time when it comes to jobs. Christmas is a tough period. These guys will work with you, and they're absolutely excellent. I've mentioned before, they're working with my girlfriend at this moment in time to try to tailor her a very specific job. Listen, Job Match Group as well. Also, you get offers when you upload your CV. It's not going to cost you that much money as well. It's a better rate than all the other job match sites out there when it comes to Indeed and Monster. We've also got Shop GNO. Better rates than Amazon, eBay, and Vinted. 5% cheaper. List some stuff on there. Buy some stuff on there for Christmas. Ran by a Leeds United fan in the community. Gonzalo Jerseys. All that. Loads of them on Gonzalo Jerseys. All links in the description, everybody. Get them in time for Christmas. I've got a 92-93 away strip coming in the post. Going to wear it tomorrow when it arrives. I'm absolutely buzzing. Pleasure as always, everybody. Like the video before you leave. I'm Conor McGilligan. This is for Leeds. We'll see you for ups and downs tomorrow. It's been a pleasure. And